Hey guys, this is Chantel Harris, your therapist, and this is going to be your lesson for the week. Now, we've been mainly focused on what we call CBT, which is cognitive behavior therapy. That's the main modality of therapy that we use in our therapy here at Chrysalis or the Redirections program. Now, you'll see my head turn in different directions because I have three screens. The one that's in the center, that's where I can see you guys, but I'm looking straight at you. One to the left and one to the right of me. But what you should see right now on your screen is the model of the cognitive triangle. And I'm sure that I've been over this with you all before. So we have the cognitive triangle here. And what that is, it shows us how our thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors affect one another. Okay, so what this means is if you change your thoughts, you can change how you feel and you can change how you behave. So that's the whole basis of CBT, which is cognitive behavior therapy. Now, cognitive talks about the brain. That's the brain and how the brain functions and process through feelings and emotions and things like that. And we'll do a whole separate lesson on how the brain works in terms of the fight or flight reflex. But today we're doing the cognitive triangle, and that's what we're going to focus on. So let's talk about thoughts first. We're going to talk about thoughts, we're going to talk about behaviors, but the main focus of this lesson is going to be on emotions. And then we're going to break out to do a session on emotional regulation or emotional regulation, which is part of dialectical behavior therapy, which is another form or another modality that therapists use to treat clients that have very strong emotions or have trouble regulating their emotions. Okay, so just a brief overview of the cognitive triangle. So basically, you have a situation that occurs. And the situation, we normally call that a trigger. You get triggered by something that happens. It either brings up a past memory or brings up current emotions that you feel in based on what somebody did, said, or something that happened that reminds you of something. Okay, so automatically when you get triggered, a thought comes to your head, and it don't go in this particular order. You can have a, but the thought comes to mind and you interpret the situation. So you're thinking about it. I'm interpreting how I view the situation, not what actually is. Okay, so your thought is a personal interpretation of the situation. So it's subjective. It's based on your feelings, really, your emotions. Okay, so if a stranger looks at you with the angry expression, you could think, oh no, what did I do wrong? Or maybe they're having a bad day. So you go negative, like what did I do wrong? And just like kind of worrying about yourself, you personalize it in a negative way. That's a cognitive distortion. We talked about that too. Or you can say, well, maybe they're having a bad day. You can look at an alternative way of viewing the situation, if that makes sense. Okay. So most people, though, they have the negative connotation with their thoughts. They'll think, oh, maybe I did something wrong. And they'll take it negatively. So let's go with the negative. We call those negative automatic thoughts. So then, based on that, you have a feeling in regards to your interpretation of the situation. So you might feel sad, angry, mad, happy, worried. And then you have physical components that comes with the feeling, which it may have like a mental crash. You might have low energy. And you know what I'm saying? Your stomach might hurt. You might get nervous. You might get like sweaty. You might feel like you want to run, like that fight or flight thing. And then which leads us to the behavior. Okay, so the behavior part is your response to the situation. So when you start feeling your feelings and getting all nervous or anxious when it's the negative thoughts and negative feelings that's running through your mind based on what you were triggered by, you might want to do something. So you're going to you can do a few things. You can either run, you can stay and fight, deal with it, or you can freeze. So we call it fight, flight, or freeze response, which is, it originates in the brain because it's all happening in your brain. Then it's going within your emotions. You're feeling this kind of way. And then I got to do something about it. I got to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? I can't stay. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like, I'm going to run. I got to get out of here. Or if you get angry about something, somebody confronted you and you feel like they're threatening your womanhood or your manhood, you might want to fight them. Or some people, when they confront it negatively, they freeze. They don't know what to say. Okay, so that's the gist of the cognitive triangle. That's how it works. That's how our brain processes stuff. Like we go from like our thoughts, how we feel about it, and then like how we're going to act in response to what we think, what we feel, and what we're gonna do about it. Okay, so now, but what I want to focus on is the emotional aspect of it. All right, so the emotional aspect is first off, you guys are teenagers. You all are still growing. Y'all brains are still developing. You got a lot of mood swings because your hormones are changing during this time. So it's like you guys can get triggered easily. You don't have to have anxiety or depression. You get triggered just by everyday thing. Just want to be accepted socially, want to fit in, get irritated with having responsibilities and want to do things that, have fun and enjoy life. So it's like you can go from happy to sad in a matter of seconds, or happy and irritated, or you know what I'm saying, your mood switch. It can switch quickly during this time. So one of the things I like to teach is how to regulate your emotions. And one of the ways to do this is by labeling your feelings. That's the first part. Okay, we label your feelings. And I think we went over that, which is the feelings wheel. And this is like my little, oh, let me stop sharing. Hold on. Make this bigger so I can stop sharing the screen. Sorry, I'm trying to. I don't know if you can still see that screen or not. Let me go share and let me go. Huh. I can't see my stop sharing part. All right, well, I think we back to the main center screen. Okay, look, this is the feelings wheel that you all should receive a copy, like paper copy, but I'll resend it just in case you lost it. Now, the feelings and stuff that's in the middle of this wheel, those are what they call primary feelings or primary emotions, okay? And it's more like fear, anger, disgust, sad, happy, surprise, right? So when we first experience some type of situation, we have primary emotions that hit us first, and those last for seconds. Okay, so it's real direct, you know what it is, but then you have secondary emotions. So as a result of like the initial shock of what you experience, it's the secondary emotions that affects you, and those are the ones that last longer, and those are the ones that can contribute to like mental illnesses or like depression, anxiety, or make you stress over for longer periods of time. So let's say the primary emotion was fear that you experienced initially. Then okay, that might last for a few seconds. Oh my God, I'm so scared, or a few minutes or whatever. But then later, if you come back to it, if you would actually take the time to review your feelings and like identify and review it, you can say, well, the reason why I feel fearful is because I'm insecure. I don't know if I can do this. Or the reason why my fear was there initially is because maybe I feel worthless. Maybe it's like it's triggering something to make me feel worthless, which has to do with core beliefs, right? So the primary feelings is the initial shock of when something happens, okay? So it could be fear, anger, disgust, sadness, happiness, or surprise, okay? But then it's the secondary ones that basically produce like physiological responses. So when you have the secondary ones, that's when you're gonna start feeling the emotions, like whatever in your body. Your stomach might hurt, your hands, palms might be sweaty, your heart might start pounding real hard. You might, what I'm saying? You feel nauseous, you feel like you want to run. So it's the secondary ones, because it's those hidden ones. I call like the secondary emotions are trapped in our subconscious mind. And it's like, in a way, it's like our brain trying to protect us so we won't like go completely crazy. So it's like a automatic thought comes, we have a primary feeling, a primary emotion, fear, anger, sadness, disgust. Okay, that happened. But then what's behind that? That's what you have to ask yourself. What's behind my fear? Like, what am I really, what's really going on? Do I feel like that person think they're inferior to me? Am I worried about something going wrong? Do I feel overwhelmed? Am I frightened by the aspect of this? Is something terrifying me? Am I, do I feel like they're disrespecting me? Do I feel like they're humiliating me? Am I rejected? Those are things you start like kind of like looking at and questioning and try to get to the root of why you have that fear. Okay. So even with happiness, like, okay, let's say, for example, you feel happy that your friend, I'm making a scenario, your friend basically got accepted to go to a college, but is like out of state, and that's your best friend. And so you're initially happy for them. That's the first feeling that come up. But then, you're feeling joyful and stuff like that. But then you also might feel, dang, I'm gonna miss them. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of harsh. I mean, I don't want to like make them feel like I'm not supportive of them, but they're gonna be like this, like 3,000 miles away from me. The only way I can see them is through FaceTime, or if I catch a plane to go see them, or if they come back home for the holidays. So then you might feel some kind of like sadness, about that is affecting you. So then let's say later on, your behavior might be you more snappy towards your friend, or you trying to push her away because you already feeling that you're going to lose her, and you reacting off those type of emotions. That's really the secondariness in your subconscious. You're not consciously aware of you thinking that, but you know you're happy for her, and you don't want her to think that you're not happy for her. So you kind of like downplay or suppress or ignore, or maybe it's just not even at the forefront of your mind. You think about it a little bit, and then you go back to, okay, I'm happy for her. I don't want to focus on, I don't want to make this about me and focus on like how I'm gonna miss her, that type thing. But the actual way that you would resolve that is say, listen, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy. I'm gonna miss you so much. You got me. How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna stay in contact? Because it kind of hurt me that I'm not gonna be able to see you every day in person. Like having those conversations and like expressing how you feel, and then like, you know, your concerns, it actually is half the battle. If you can identify your feelings, not just the surface level feeling, not just the primary first one you felt. Okay, she felt joy that her friend got accepted to a college 3,000 miles away, but she also felt some anxiety and stress that she wouldn't be able to see her friend like every day. So just talking to someone about that, talking to the friend and like expressing your concerns, and then help you guys come up with a solution of a plan of how you're gonna see each other. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we're gonna FaceTime every day at 8 o'clock at night to kind of go over our day, and then and then maybe on Thanksgiving, Christmas, we're gonna come up, we'll make plans to go on a trip, or maybe you come down here, you start discussing it, and it relieves the anxiety, and then it kind of like you come up with a solution. You see what I'm saying? All right. So now the other thing I'm going to show you, let me show you this. When we are talking about, oh, there's my stop sharing. So I didn't even stop sharing. So I don't even know if you could saw my feelings wheel. That's the feeling wheel. The primary emotions are in the middle, and the secondary ones on the second layer and third layer. And just so you know, just because you have like a primary here, it don't have to be these emotions that you feel, but most time happy, you could like narrow it down to one of these emotions or even one of these emotions. But just because you feel happy about something, you can have some negative emotions about things too underline it, like in that situation with a girl that was going off to college. Okay. All right. So that makes sense. Now let's show you this. Now we talked about emotions on the, we're talking about emotions in terms of our feelings. So feelings, that's how we talk about emotions. Okay. And when we talk about emotions, another good regulation tool is DBT skills, dialectical behavior skills. And what that is, it teaches 2 core coping strategies on how to cope with your emotions. And it's like either you change your emotions or you accept your emotions. And emotion regulation techniques focus on changing emotions from something that's more to less intense. So you'll change from really, really intense to less intense, or you can just view the whole situation as something entirely different. Like we say, have an alternative way of viewing the situation. Okay, so emotional regulation with DBT skills, this is the steps. You you act opposite of how you normally would act. That's how you kind of can change emotions. Okay, so you're rewiring the brain to kind of like look at the situation and view the situation differently. Okay, rewiring the brain, like I'm gonna act or think differently or feel differently about this. I'm gonna show you how to do that in a few minutes. Or you check the facts. So like you can feel a certain way about something, but how do you is that subjective based on how you interpreted the situations with your thought, or is it the reality of the situation? Okay. And one way you check the facts is like you write down the situation, what happened, without putting your personal spin on it, and then write how you feel about it. And then you go back and check and say, okay, is this like my interpretation, or, could it be this, could this happen because of this reason? You know what I'm saying? One example I always give is, let's say you went to the gas station, you went to get some snacks and everything, you gave your money to the cashier, when he or she gave the money back, they threw the money at you. So you can be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you throwing the money at me like that? You know what I'm saying? Like get like all offended by it. Or you can be like, oh, okay, pick up the money. You okay? I mean, you kind of threw that money at me, like put a little positive spin on it, add a little joke to it. And then the cashier be like, I'm sorry, I was having a bad day. So it's like, depending on how you, one, interpret the situation, and 2, how you react to the situation that you're being presented with, you know what I'm saying, can change the dynamics and how, everything go from that point on. If somebody's approaching you negatively and then you respond negatively, it's gonna, basically make more negativity. If somebody responds to you negatively and you can take it and spin it and put a positive spin on it by adding a joke or asking how somebody's doing, you can be a change agent in that person's life. You can be that therapist for that person at that time to let them vent or talk about something that's going on. You know what I'm saying? So the person threw the money at you, you can like, oh my God, you just threw that money at me. You okay? And the cashier might say, no, my boss got on my nerves saying it was my fault. I had this mean customer just before you came in, and he put it on me like it was my fault. And then you say, I'm sorry that happened to you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people just craziness where I don't know what's wrong, they rude. And then you establish that banter and just allowing that person that space to talk about what they're going through. It helps them to process through their emotions, and it helps them release it. You see what I'm talking about? But if you had to like added to that person's stress. I'm not saying we always have to do this because we don't have to be subjected to anybody's abuse ever. But if you feel like you in a good mode or a good mind space where you can help somebody work through something when they're angry, do it. If not, you can walk away from it, or you can respond in your anger, the way you want to respond. Because don't suppress your emotions at all. But I'm just trying to give you an alternative way. So, and another thing is check the facts. It's a lot of times it's not about you. A person's being rude and you didn't do anything to them. It's not really about you. It's about whatever they're going through in their life, or what they're thinking about, something that's on their mind, and they don't know how to process that, and they're just pushing it out on everybody around them. They're spreading their negativity. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you just fact check. Like, okay, first of all, I don't even know this cashier. So for that person to be rude to me, that really has nothing to do with me. You see what I'm talking about? It has nothing to do with me. So either I'm gonna go about my merry way, say, hey, look, you seem like you're having a bad day. I'm gonna wish you the best. I'm gonna pray that your day turn around and things go better. All right. And like, God bless, or leave, or, just something positive. You don't have to like subject yourself to it, but don't allow yourself to take in their negative energy. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Another technique they use is called please. And we go over that in a few minutes. And then pay attention to the positive events. Now, this is emotional regulation. This is very important. Okay. All right, so let me stop sharing for a second so I can pull up another aspect of this worksheet. Hold on. So we can go through this. All right, so here is the worksheet on DBT skills, emotional regulation. So basically it says the opposite action. So when you're doing the opposite action, is basically how it sounds. So they say emotions and behavior go hand in hand. So we look at emotions and behavior, that goes hand in hand. So when you feel something, you most likely the next thing that's going to happen is going to be a reaction to what you feel. Whether you're going to stand up and defend yourself, whether you're going to walk away and not say anything, or whether you're going to freeze up. Something's going to happen, okay? So if you feel angry, you might raise your voice to argue. If you feel sad, you might withdraw from your friends. And actions and emotions, they're basically closely linked. So it's like those are together. Your behavior and emotions, those are closely linked. So what people don't know is that the connection goes both ways. Just as emotions lead to behaviors, behaviors lead to emotions. Remember we just make that example? Like if in that store, if the cashier person got mad at you, and then you say, okay, I'm up for the challenge, you get back mad at them, and then they put you in that bad mood. You walk out that store, and then now you spread negative energy. Okay. But anyway, what they're saying that this means doing the opposite action. So instead of like responding how you would normally want to respond when somebody approach you in a negative, hostile way, they want you to change how you feel. Okay. And so if you typically would raise your voice when you're angry, they want you to talk quietly and politely. Kill them with kindness. If you withdraw when you feel sad, they want you to make a point of visit a friend instead. Make sure you go socialize. If you feel forced at first, you're going to feel like it's forced at first. That's what they're saying. Because anything you're trying is new. When you're growing and trying to learn to develop new skills, it's not going to feel natural. You have to get into the habit of that skill. That's why I say with CBT is about practicing. The homework is practicing what you learn in therapy. So practicing doing this is not going to feel all like easy breezy, walking on clouds. It's going to feel like, ugh, this get on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? I don't think this is working. But just do it with an open mind, and just do it. Like I say, do it at least 5 or 6 times, and then you'll start to feel differently, or you'll start to feel the change. Now, every skill I teach you here is not going to work, but you're not going to know unless you try it like 5 or 6 times. That's what I'm telling you right here, okay? Okay, so feel forced at first, but acting the opposite can make you move in a more positive direction. So if you feel the emotion of anger, and your action is you want to yell, fight, or argue, the opposite action of that would be talk quietly or behave politely, okay? Like the cashier example. If you're feeling sadness and your action would normally be withdraw from our friends, the opposite action would be call a friend or visit. Just talk to somebody, listen to somebody else's problem. Get your mind off of what's going on with you, so you're not ruminating and think about the same thing over and over again and heighten your emotions. If you talk to somebody else, it takes your mind off your situation and you can focus on something else. And then sometimes when you focus on something else, it might help you understand your situation better. Sometimes you can look at the situation what we call objectively, which means from a broader perspective, instead of subjectively based on your own feelings, emotions, your thoughts about it. You can learn something. So if you stay stuck in your subjective opinions, your personal opinions of it, you're kind of closed off. But if you open up and broaden to like different ideas of why it could be that way by listening to people's stories or hearing other people say things, or even asking advice on something, it opens up to more objectively, and is more ways to view it. You understand? Okay. Okay, if you feel the emotion of anxiety, and your normal action would be to dwell on the anxiety producing event, we call that ruminating, thinking about it over and over and over again in our minds. The opposite action would be to do something unrelated that occupies your thought, like go take a walk, You know what I'm saying? Do a grounding exercise when you go outside, like pay attention to the trees, breathe in the fresh air, do deep breathing exercises. You know what I'm saying? Like do something to distract yourself from keeping that thought. Like don't, or even imagine a stop sign in your mind and stop. Let me stop thinking about this and then replace it with something positive, like a memory that make you feel satisfied or loved or happy. That's how you help to stop anxiety producing thoughts or just the feelings of anxiety. You have to stop yourself because your mind automatically clicks on it and it keeps going like a rotating, going to keep thinking about this. I can't believe she did such and such. I can't believe this happened. And keep talking and just elevating your feelings, your anger, your frustration, your sadness, anxiety is getting bigger, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger. And that's when like, oh, now I'm having a panic attack. Or, oh, now I feel like all sick to the stomach. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like things happen. So you need to decrease the emotion that's heightened, which is your primary emotion, by basically doing something to distract yourself, like taking a walk, talking to a friend, behaving politely. Don't react the way that people think you're going to react or the way that you normally would react. And so you're doing an opposite action. That's what you're doing. All right. The next thing they say is checking the facts. Okay. So this basically saying, have you ever had a strong emotional reaction to something and then regretted it the next day? Oftentimes, the things that feel like a big deal in the moment turns out to be unimportant when we look back with a clear mind. So practice checking the facts to reduce the intensity of extreme emotions. So remember we talked about the primary emotions that you feel initially. It could be anger, sadness, happiness, surprise, fear, all that. That lasts for like minutes, seconds, hours, sometimes days, depending on the person. But that's the primary reaction. Then it's the physiological ones that come next, like what's behind the sadness, what's behind the anger, what's behind the fear, and those are ones that get us. So what they're saying is ask yourself these questions. And in CBT, because right now we're working with DBT, which is dialectical behavior therapy, but with cognitive behavior therapy, we call this Socratic questioning. Okay, so you're using questions to be more scientific and to be more objective, to look at it from a broader perspective and not from your limited subjective perspective. Okay, so what event triggered my emotion? What made me mad? Okay, is it something somebody said? Is it a memory I thought about something when somebody said this? You know what I'm saying? Is it something somebody did? What triggered me? That's the first question you ask yourself. What's triggering this? And then write it down. Sometimes write it down, gets it out of your brain and on paper. And so it's out of your system for a minute so you can look at it more objectively, okay? What interpretations or assumptions am I making about the event? So how am I processing this? When I got triggered, what did it make me feel or think? Or what assumptions am I making about the person based on what they said or did? You know what I'm saying? So write that down. Say it out loud to yourself. You have to come out of your head. You can't keep thinking it because it can go back to that negative thing and go back to that subjective way. Okay, the closed-minded way. So write it. Okay, well, what did they do? What was it? How did I interpret what they said, what they did to me? And what assumptions am I making about how I interpreted the whole event? Okay. The next thing is, does the intensity of my emotion match the facts of the situation or just my assumptions? So remember I said at the beginning, like you write down the facts. This is what happened. My friend told me she was going off to college. Okay. This is how I interpret it. Dang, she's leaving me. Why did she ask if I wanted to go to college with her? We could have been applying to the same college so I can be with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start right now, like, how you feel about it. Okay. So the fact is my friend got accepted to a college 3,000 miles away. How I'm interpreting it is I'm going to miss her, but I don't understand why she want to leave. Why she just want to stay here so we can do our thing like how we always do together. You know what I'm saying? Now look at it. Now, does the intensity of my emotions, okay, so I was happy, but I also feel kind of angry at her and kind of like sad and like kind of mad at her that she didn't, talk to me about this. I feel disappointed. I feel kind of like she's trying to isolate herself from me. So then like you're looking at how you're interpreting the situation. Does it match the facts of the situation? And the answer is no. She didn't purposely apply for that college to make you feel these things. She applied for that college because maybe it had the major that she was looking for. Something that's going to fit what she's looking for. You know what I'm saying? So then you can like clearly see the distinction between like, what the action was and then your reactions to it. Okay. Same thing with the cashier. The cashier was rude and threw my change at me. That's the fact. The cashier threw I'm not gonna say rude because that's how I interpreted it. The cashier threw my money back at me when I was at the cashier desk. And then the assumption is, dang, he rude and first off, it makes me mad. I don't know what's wrong with him. Maybe he's having a bad day, but he needs to get himself together or he'll get fired. I'm talking to his man. You know what I'm saying? You got all these assumptions or maybe, you know what I'm saying? He think because, I don't know, because I'm black, that he can just treat me any kind of way, you know what I'm saying? Or he think because, or he think because I'm a woman, that he can like downplay me or be disrespectful to me, like I'm not gonna say nothing. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is all my assumptions. That's how I'm feeling about it. That's how I'm interpreting the situation. So then if I like can look at it objectively, I got it written down, the cashier threw the change at me. Yeah, that was rude, but maybe that cashier is having an irritating day himself or herself. And she don't know how to process through her stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's stuff like that. Like just kind of weighing it in your mind, or sometimes really writing it down, or even saying it out loud, or even just confronting the situation, but in a more positive way. Don't match energy. It's not good to match energies all the time, because all it does is affect you, and then you walking out spread more negative energy. Okay. Okay. So the next one is emotion regulate with the next emotion regulation skill, sorry, is the please concept. So it says your physical health and your mind are closely linked together. So a healthy lifestyle improves mental health and makes it easier to manage difficult emotions. Use the acronym PLEASE to remind yourself of 5 healthy habits. So PL stands for treat physical illness. So if you have any physical illness, treat it. If you have a headache, take some headache medicine. If you have a stomach ache, take some antacids. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like you need to go to the doctor, go to the doctor if something's major going on. E is eating healthy. Make sure you drink enough water, eating fruits and vegetables, you get enough protein in your diet. Make sure you actually eating. First off, some people forget to eat when they're feeling certain emotions, like they get stressed out or feel depressed. They don't eat. So if you don't have a big appetite, that's fine. But do know you have to eat to sustain yourself. Sometimes you have those mood swings. You might be hungry. You're hangry. You know what I'm saying? So eat something. Drink water. Eat something. Whether it's crackers if you don't really have appetite, some fruit just to like pass you over until your appetite come back. All right. A, avoid mood-altering drugs. Okay. I know sometimes the coping mechanism when you're stressed out is to like maybe smoke weed or vape or do whatever, which is, I'm not going to say it's bad because it's not bad for everyone. And everyone that smoke don't form dependencies to the drug. But some people do, because all our brains and stuff are wired differently. And also depends on the level of stress. But if you always hit the blunt or vape, you know what I'm saying, or dab, when you are stressed out, you're never going to learn how to deal with the emotions in an appropriate way. Okay. And then what's going to happen when you can't smoke the weed or do whatever drug you do to like calm yourself down or what's going to happen? You're going to have a blow up because you don't have the skills in place to learn how to like appropriately work through them. Okay. So that's the thing. So avoid mood altering drugs. And in some cases, depending on your state of mind, like let's say alcohol, people drink alcohol, like unwind. If you're already in an angry state, it might heighten you. You might get even more angry. Some people are angry drunks. Some people, and they always say sometimes the opposite. If you're angry, you drink alcohol, calms you down. Or if you normally calm, you drink alcohol, make you hype. I don't know. I think it, we never really know, but I think it depends on what we call those secondary emotions that we experience. So we might, like the friend that was happy for a friend that got accepted to college, but she has some secondary negative emotions. So maybe what it does, it makes you get in touch with your emotions, but it can blow it out of proportion because you're altering your state of mind by the drug or the alcohol. Okay. Next one is sleep well. Make sure you get enough sleep. You guys need a lot of sleep because your bodies are still forming, your brains are still forming. So you need a lot of sleep, but at least get 7 hours at night or at some point in the day. You know what I'm saying? You need 7 hours sleep for your body to recover. That's when your mind is like repairing itself and your body is calming itself down. It's getting your systems functioning back normal. And then E stands for exercise. Get some physical activity in your life. Walk releases those endorphins that make you feel happier. And if you stress, it helps calm the central nervous system if you can like do something physical, whether it's for real going to the gym to work out, lift weights, or whether it's like going for a brisk walk, anything. It can be anything. You can do yoga. You can just do like calisthenics in your house. It helps get your hormones more regulated and calms things down. Okay. All right. So the last step in the dialectical behavior therapy for emotional regulation is pay attention to positive events. Okay. Is that most people who hear 10 compliments no, I'm sorry. It says most people hear 10 compliments and 1 criticism. Okay. We'll focus on a single negative comment. So you can hear 10 positive things, but you're going to focus on 1 negative thing. Okay. Learning to recognize in the positive aspect of the situation can help improve your mood. And I don't know why it's like that. Our brain naturally gravitate towards the pain. I don't know. I guess because it's more of an extreme emotion. Our brain gravitates towards negativity. And like an example I can give you is like a little girl might be swinging on her swing, you know, when she was like 5 years old and she fell off. When she fell off, she broke her leg. Okay. So like years later, the girl like 15 now. So she don't get on swings no more because she remembers she associated like swings with breaking her leg. So it's like she, you know, we associate negativity with that. But it can be different. Or maybe she could have got on a swing after she broke her leg when she was 5 years old and everything was fine, nothing happened, but she don't remember that because she remembered the negative event that happened more than like the positive. That's how our brain works. Those are called cognitive distortion. It's easier for us to remember the negative because it's like real heightened. So we have to make a conscious effort to pay attention to the positive. Look for the positive in the situation. When you're in a negative situation, look for something that's positive about it. I call that being grateful. You know what I'm saying? Be like when you wake up in the morning, you kind of irritated, having a bad day. Thank you, God, for waking me up. Thank you for, you know, the trees, you know what I'm saying? That I'm healthy, that I don't feel sick. Find something to be grateful for so you can find the positive in it so you can shift your mood is what they're saying. So practice paying attention to positive events. Anything that happened positive, note it. You know what I'm saying? Choose activities that's enjoyable. So that's going to help you focus on more positive things. Okay, so don't get hung up in the negative details of everything is what they're saying. So what they're saying, have a good unrushed meal, sit down, enjoy your meal, be mindfully eating, watch a movie, visit with friends or family, go to an attraction like a zoo or a museum, go for a walk, put headphones on, and do nothing but just listen to music. Have a picnic, give yourself a relaxing night in, and just try new hobbies. So after some practice, you'll start getting used to like, okay, let me pull the positive from the situation. Okay, so you're challenging yourself. Even though I feel this way, I feel angry, I feel sad, I feel hurt, let me try to look for a positive in my situation. If I can't look for a positive, let me go do something that's nice and relaxing. It's like positive action that kind of change my mood. Okay, this is what I'm assigning y'all to. This is what I want y'all to work on how like regulating your emotions. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but I'm saying I want you guys to try it because I believe in y'all. And with anything that's new or different, we call that growth. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to feel normal, but you got to try at least 6 times before you give up on it. Okay. All right. All right. Until next time. So just send me a text or an email. Let me know that you finished the video. And yes, I'm going to try some of these concepts. Okay. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.